Good morning and welcome to Frontiers of Knowledge segment of Dr. Lamba's Awakening Call. Yesterday, when I said that today's episode would deal with cicada infestation, I received a couple of messages saying, what have they got to do with knowledge? Friends, knowledge of every kind, especially of biodiversity, is important. And cicada infestation is a very peculiar natural phenomena that has amazed mankind not today, but for millions of years. They were mentioned long back in the Greek literature, and they have an importance of their own for the simple reason that they are not merely birds which create a noise, but they feed themselves, they let themselves be fed by the biodiversity denizens. Now, I call it Brood X, and Brood X means Brood 10. Cicadas are big, they are incredibly loud, and this year they are going to come in billions in North America. And this is a phenomena peculiar to us, we people who live in North America. And another thing, cicadas are not harmful, they are extremely beneficial. They prune mature trees, they aerate the soil, and once they die, their bodies serve as an important source of nitrogen for growing trees. When cicadas come out, they're eaten by just about anything with an insectivorous diet. So, those worms and animals which eat insects, instead of eating good bacteria, they'll eat cicadas who are about to die. And as I said, for agriculture, for horticulture, they are extremely useful. And every year, a very small number of these insects emerges from the ground. After the winter is over, the permafrost is no longer there. The last frost nights are over. And right from the mid-Atlantic to Midwest, extending up to British Columbia, the air is filled with a deafening mating hum. And would you believe the sound? The noise level can reach up to 100 decibels. Cicadas have prominent eyes set wide apart, short antenna, and membranous front wings. They have exceptionally long song produced in most species. And this noise is created by their drum-like wings. And like the way we have cymbals, they have timbals. And the earliest known fossil of cicada was in the Upper Permian period, when the bird was still not in a tropical climate. They typically live in trees, feed on watery sap from the tissues, lay their eggs in the slits of the bark, and the vast majority are active during the day as adults, with some calling it dawn or dusk. And an exclusive North American genus is what I'm talking about. They spend their lives underground with a predictable period which ranges from 13 to 17. Now imagine a small insect capable of flying, singing loudly, is always in hibernation and comes out once every 15, 13, 17 years. And this is a curious thing. Doesn't come after 12 years, Doesn't come out 14 years, odd years starting from 13 to 17. And this period, 13 to 17, is dependent on the location. The unusual duration and synchronization of their coming out may reduce the number of cicadas because of predation, because they are less likely available prey. The annual cicadas come every year, but they're very small in number, and these cicadas, which come after 17 years, which they spend as underground larvae, their emergence above ground as adults is something which was first talked by Homer in Iliad. And if you see the motifs, the art, the Chinese art of the Shang dynasty, you would find cicadas being featured there. Now, traveling from Greek to North America, traveling from China to North America shows the way evolution took place. So the migration has not only been of the human beings, but also of the animals. And cicadas have been used in myth and folklore, and they are a symbol of carefree living and immortality. As a matter of fact, Hesiod's Shield, written 394 years before Christ, cicada is mentioned. Its voice sings when the millet first ripens. When the millet crop ripens, its voice was heard. And that's mentioned in The Shield, a book written by Hesiod. And in many countries, including China, cicadas are eaten by the human beings. Actually, in the Shandong cuisine, cicadas are deep fried and served to the human beings. And it's said they're extremely tasty. Now, that phenomena which we started with Brood 10, or the Great Eastern Brood, is set to return by the 21st of May 2021. So maybe 10 days more, and all of a sudden the people in North America are going to be bamboozled by millions, if not billions, of these. And for 5 to 6 weeks, they would be above ground. The live cicada, they're crunchy, discarded, exskeleton. You would see them in the gardens and the lawns, sound coming, but you may not be able to see them unless you look for them. And here's everything that's important. Now, cicadas shed their exoskeletons shortly after emerging from the earth and making the population seem even more numerous than it is. So every cicada is two. One is the exoskeleton, which has from which it has emerged, and you can see it on the ground, and then you can hear its sound. Now, Brood 10 is because they were there for 17 years and is the name of the big generation due this year. The last time this thing came up was in the year 2004, and before that in 1987. Theoretically, there are 17 different generations of 17-year cicada, and each is linked to a different geographical zone and different emergence year. Brood 9 that emerged in 2020 was only in the states of Virginia, West Virginia, North Carolina. So Brood 10 is the most widespread, prolific of the known generation. Throughout history, it has appeared in all parts of USA and Canada. As I said, in Canada, it has appeared in Ontario, in some part, and also in British Columbia. So question is, why do they show up once every 17 years? That is a nature's secret. Most insects whether you love insects or you hate them, make annual appearance in their homes and gardens. So why this specialty of cicadas? As it turns out, these long cycles are part of cicadas' evolution process that dates back to 1.8 million years. It was Pleistocene epoch when they first came into being. And at that time, summers could be unpredictably cold in North America. That's a problem for cicadas. If the temperatures linger too long before 68 degrees, they cannot survive. So at that time, because the summers were for less number, it was extremely cold. So they would 1.8 billion years, million years, sorry, 1.8 million. So almost 2 million years back, they were in this part, but they would hibernate. So these evolved a different cycle to improve their odds of survival. A brood can't survive a cold summer, but surviving a cold winter below ground is no problem. It was sort of an igloo. The exact reason behind number 17 is unknown, but there have been certain theories advanced. Some scientists, led by Princeton University, believe that unusual prime numbered life cycle prevents generations of cicadas from running with a life cycle of wasps. So if they come in the same year, wasps will simply devour cicadas. Another theory says that prime numbered cycle reduces the likelihood of 17 years cicadas that will mate and hybridize. And such hybridization would reduce the size of the generations. So this number, and outcome, as I said, is extremely useful. As a matter of fact, it is said that every 17 years, when cicadas come, for 3 years after they have gone, so they are here for a couple of months only, the agriculture output grows by 22%. It increases. And the lifetime of the trees is enhanced. So every 17 years, 22% increase. This is because there's a natural fertilizer. They eat away the pests, save microbes. It's a combination of vermiculture and ecology. Then aeration, most important thing. The land is aerated. And the dead trees, the dying trees, are pruned. The process which may not be possible in the forest and everything is a natural process of pruning which takes place. So scatters coming in is in fact a great evolutionary agrarian process which enables biodiversity to come up and enhance the sustainable living of this universe. The cicada infestation, and if you go to the garden of mornings and hear this chirping of the crickets coupled with cicadas, you might think that is some orchestra which is playing. An orchestra provided by nature for your edification, for your health, for your benefit all over, except that sometimes it becomes too jarring and too boring when the noise is too much. As one cicada at one time can reach 100 decibels of noise. So if there's a swarm of, say, 1,000 cicadas in your lawn, what sort of a noise would you be hearing? And let's be clear that whatever the noise level may be, couple of months, and they are going to enhance our agriculture, our horticulture. The flowers will be more beautiful to look at. and more pest free. Land would be aerated, you don't have to go in for aeration, and the trees would be pruned naturally. What more do you want from nature? So this new manifestation, or infestation, after 17 years, is a major ecological balancing act by nature. This is ecological balancing, sustainable, efficient, and useful. Thank you.